Good morning, welcome back to the Mac Velo Chronicles. You're joining me today on a very important occasion for myself. Today will be the first time I am cycling again, albeit it's on the smart trainer. It is a big step for me. I have returned to cycling after a 13-week absence, thanks to a heart arrhythmia. That heart arrhythmia was diagnosed as atrial flutter. I've decided to document it in the hope that it will help somebody else who may come across these videos in the future. I certainly went through some tough times in my head. It's difficult for me to talk about it just now. I'll get into a rhythm and I'll tell you more about it as we go on. But I'm happy to share that and hopefully give some support and solace, shall we say, or crumb of comfort to people who may have the misfortune of ending up in the same situation. But for now, I haven't been on the trainer for 13 weeks, so I need to get my Zwift set up, sorted. So I'll go and do that, and we will check in a bit. Right, as you can probably hear, I have Zwift going on my Mac, so share the screen with you now, and the first thing we need to do is go into my settings, preference, is that what I'm looking for? Preference, no. Sound and display, no, none of that. One for here then. Okay, stop pedaling, that might be. So as you can see, a bit rusty here. My profile, that's what we're after. Here we go. This bit here. Yes, so after 13 weeks, my last proper cycling session was the 27th. I did May the 27th, that is, and I did try and do something on May the 29th and realised I had a problem. So we are Monday the 31st of July. And let's read it and weep as far as I'm concerned, although that being said, it was a pretty serious condition I had, so let's take that out. 83.0. There we are. 83 kilos, folks. That's 6 kilograms. 6? Yeah, 5.5, 6. So yes, that's what happens when you are forced to stop exercising when you've been doing so all your days. Okay. Now I have no clue what my fitness level is going to be like. From my point of view, I would like to, I guess, start out nice and easy, and we call them group rides. I don't know, you got a pace partner, so Tempus Fugit, nice and easy, 1.5 watts per kilo. Can I do that? It's barely. I should go a bit easier actually. 1.1 watt per kilo TikTok. Let's try that. Let's not be silly. There's nothing. There's 1.8. It's too aggressive. 1.1, 1.5, let's go for 1.1. Let's do 1.1 and see if we can lose a wee bit of, raise the heart rate a bit and lose a bit of weight, obviously, but yeah, let's see if we can sweat a bit. Haven't done that. Right, off we go. I'm looking about here thinking, what else do I need to do? Is there anything I haven't done? Because we're recording today, I usually have the radio on for some music. Not today. I don't mind sharing with everybody. I do feel quite nervous here. I don't want to push it. But I do need to find out what I'm capable of. I'm very, very conscious of my heart here. This is really strange. So from previous spins on Zwift, I know that a full 10 minutes can pass before I actually start to sweat. I'm interested to see how we are today. I feel slightly out of breath from that wee effort there. My heart rate's 77. But we'll keep going. I probably don't need my glasses now. I have a wee hook over here where I hang them. Actually, this is the first time I've used the Instago 3 for any sort of vlogging. It's usually out and about, capturing the girls on our dog treks, but not today. It's a first for it. I've got it on a bit of a sturdy support here. Hopefully the angle's okay. I mean, we're just learning as we go along here. Before my heart arrhythmia, I wasn't a content creator. I had the channel, but I hadn't done anything seriously and decided to use it as a distraction. We're just under 4 minutes in. My heart rate is pretty constant. I have no idea how hard I should be pushing this, or how easy I should be pushing it. If you start too easy, are you going to cause yourself problems? Most likely not. Just give yourself an indication that, okay, that went alright, so small steps and all that, maybe we're heading in the right direction. Let me try and give you a couple of minutes summary of how I ended up where I am. So to give you context, at the turn of the year, with the ODAC season approaching, and last season hadn't been an outstanding success for me. I had suffered a couple of injuries, and towards the tail end of last season started to make progress, and I thought, yeah, I'm getting back to my old self, fitness wise, etc. I was quite a bit, well, I was overweight. My BMI was above 25, and I kind of used that as an indicator. I had, prior to the turn of the year, I'd been focusing on shorter efforts on Zwift. After the turn of the year, I'd made a conscious change. I pretty much doubled my Zwifting time. I went from trying to get about 30 kilometres a session to 70 kilometres a session, and on a Monday I would try and get 100 kilometres, which is about 3 hours if I was going at it hard. 3 hours on Zwift. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday would settle down to get about 70 kilometres, so that was a hard 2 hours. So by the time Thursdays came along, at the end of Thursday I was pretty fatigued, but used Friday, Saturday, Sunday as rest stroke recovery days. So that was the plan. It was a loose plan. I stuck to it. I started to lose weight, which was a big encouragement for me. So I kept that going and started the old ODAC season feeling pretty good. Done a couple of ODACs, and then I blew my knee out, didn't I? You know, as I recovered from the knee, I was still desperate to have a really good ODAC season. Had a 300 lined up, There was no 400s I could do in Scotland, so a couple of 600s lined up. You know, so I was really going for it. Ambition wise, you know, I had them in the diary. And as the first 600 approached, I wasn't entirely convinced I was over my knee injury, and so I DNS'd that, which is fair enough, but fully intending the next 600, yeah, that would be it. And because I DNS'd it, I thought, right, still need to keep rocking here, keep plugging away. So I was continuing the efforts, and I was quite fatigued every Thursday, but I enjoyed that. I'd have a few beers on a Thursday night, Friday night. Any sessions are done on a Saturday, sometimes on a Friday I would get a wee outdoor session in as the weather improved. Very light, 40-50k outside, no problem. So it was all going to plan. I was building up to the 600, and towards the end of May, in fact the last week in May, I had another good session, another good week. Finished that on the Thursday. Friday had a rest day. Saturday done a sort of recovery ride on Zwift. It was alright, no problem. And almost overnight things changed. I woke up the following day, I think it was a Sunday, and I felt like I had a really bad hangover, if the truth be told. I couldn't quite understand what was going on. Well, I'll come back to my Apple Watch shortly, but I wear my Apple Watch all the time, and checking it, my resting heart rate through the night had dropped 15 beats, actually close to 20 beats. So that is really strange, and I could feel I was more conscious of my heart. It was every so often there'd be a big resounding thump, like it was missing a few beats and it was kicking back in. You know, I'd felt that before, but not maybe to the same intensity. Anyway, in my history I had a suspected heart attack 18 months ago, and again this is a bit of background, but it was nothing to do with it wasn't a heart attack basically. I was suffering from a virus called pericarditis, which attacks and inflames the heart wall, so every time your heart beats it's painful. That's what it was. So 18 months later, here's me at the end of May, feeling the same thing. No, sorry, I'll rephrase that. Feeling and knowing my heart was behaving a wee bit erratically. So what did I do? I thought, that must be a virus. Monday the 29th of May, it's easy for me to say, but with hindsight, I knew something was wrong. I went on, it's actually a bank holiday here in Scotland, so I went on Zwift with a view to just maybe doing a bit, maybe 40 or 50k, not entirely at recovery intensity, but putting a wee bit of effort in. After 10 minutes I was struggling and I really felt fatigued, but what I noticed was my heart. So it seemed to be going up. It wasn't going up linear, it was going up in jumps. It seemed to go from 70, then it would jump to 80, low 80s, then it would be in the 90s, and before I knew it, it was firing at 110, 111, and it hadn't slowly climbed up to that, it jagged edged up. I thought, that's strange. and then it jagged edged up, it jumped to 120. Now, in that zone, my maximum heart rate all through my 50s has been about 145, which is quite low, I get that, but that's how my body operates. So I knew anything 120 onwards and I'm in threshold. So there I'm sitting at that level and I'm thinking, this is all wrong, I've only been going 15-20 minutes and I'm not pushing it that hard, and I was fatigued. Long story short, after 20 minutes I had to cut it dead. Enough was enough. I couldn't go on, basically. I was too fatigued. So, literally threw the towel in, came off, a bit despondent, thought, okay, I've got a virus, it'll clear in 3 or 4 days. Decided to take a couple of days rest, and my resting heart rate through the night was at 30. And I'm thinking, no way, there's something not right here, what the hang is going on? So, but at that stage I'm like, still theorising about the virus, okay? On the Friday, I got my first alert from my Apple Watch. It was a proactive alert, and I actually managed to miss it, which is, I get a lot of notifications, so I'm going to say that was the reason. But anyway, one came in Friday about lunchtime, and Friday about early tea time I got a second proactive alert from my Apple Watch saying atrial fibrillation detected. So I looked at that, and I'd never had that before. And then I noticed the missed one from earlier on in the day, and internal alarm bells were ringing. I thought, this isn't right, this has never happened before. What is going on? And stupidly, I kept it all to myself. I should at that stage have included my wife and explained what was going on, but I didn't. Now she's not stupid, so she had noticed there was no bike activity all through that week. She hadn't mentioned anything, but she had noticed. So I had some beers on Friday night, and this was another indication to me. After about the third or fourth beer, and just bottles of beer, that's probably about a quarter of what I would usually have, I felt really fatigued and tired. And I thought, I've had enough, I need to go to bed. So I wakes up on Saturday, it's a lovely Saturday afternoon, we were sitting in the garden, and I gets another alert on my Apple Watch. But as well as these proactive alerts, I was doing Apple Watch ECGs, and they were failing. And they were coming back with a message, heart rate below 50, unable to, ECG unable to complete. So I'm like, right, okay, this is not on. And I thought to myself, I need to do something about this. At that stage I brought my wife into the conversation, explained to her what I'd done, and she's like, right, okay. And I thought something was wrong, but we agreed that I would attempt to get a doctor's appointment on Monday morning. And surprise, surprise, I got one. I say surprise, surprise. When they said, and what's wrong with you? I said, well, I think it's atrial fibrillation. Oh, right, okay, no problem. I got an appointment within the next hour. Went along to see my GP, who listened to me, took an ECG, and said, yeah, Mr. Doyle, we're going to get you into hospital. And that was that. Straight to hospital, where they done lots of tests and were quite, I say lots of tests, but you know, monitored me, extremely low heart rate, which they weren't happy about, so I ended up in a wheelchair. And when I wasn't in the wheelchair, I was to sit up in bed, which, you know, stupid male thing where I felt I was okay, you know, and didn't want people fussing, but as one nurse said, Stephen, you're okay on the outside, you're really ill on the inside. Alright, okay. So, long story short, 48 hours observing, spoke to a consultant, and atrial flutter was diagnosed. But get this, it was entirely due to my cycling activities. And what he said is, so as you age, obviously your body ages, different parts of your body cope with aging in different ways. The heart is effectively a big muscle, so as you increase your aerobic activity, your heart grows. And I was aware of this, you know, because it's a common known fact that athletes with the biggest hearts are professional cyclists because of the aerobic load that's put on them during their training. So yes, your heart grows, and that's, my heart had, you know, had increased, but that in itself isn't the problem. The problem is age, and the electrical circuitry within your heart doesn't really grow. And I'm using his words, so please forgive me if there's any medical people out there who know exactly what this is, but this is how he described it to me. So my heart is growing, but the electrical circuits aren't, and they're stretching. Now, in a lot of occasions they can stretch okay and they can cope, but unfortunately in some occasions they don't. They short circuit, they snap, and for me the atrial circuitry had short circuited. It snapped and looked back on itself and had created a nice wee 360 loop of electrical signals, and those signals were instructing the atrial valves to open and close at a very, very rapid rate of knots. If you ever watch old westerns and the cowboy, where there's a good guy and a bad guy, smacks, bursts into the saloon and the saloon doors flap back and forward, they eventually settle down. Well, my atrial valves continue to flap back and forward, so they'll just go in 10 to the dozen. The rest of the heart had picked up on that and was like, well, guys, slow down. So the rest of the heart circuitry was sending slow down messages. So the rest of the heart did slow down, but because the atrial valves weren't slowing, it continued to send a really slow signal. And as a result of that, for 2 months I have had a heart rate where even during the day it could be way below 40. It could be sitting at 35. When I'm sleeping it was regularly at 30. In the second month I had it at 29 on occasions. And this is where the mental health element comes in. I was waking up in the morning saying, okay, I've got through another night. Because in my head, if your heart's only beating at 29 beats, how's that possible to stay alive and function? But it did. Thankfully,